Welcome to a new episode of Hacks and Hobbies with your host, Junaid Ahmed.
In this episode, I want to talk about some of the things that Hacks and Hobbies and myself have been working on. So far, I've been able to interview about 12 professionals, hobbyists, and really good friends that I've had the pleasure to interview. Three of these interviews are already up, and the others are coming as I go through them and edit and publish them. I have another few scheduled for this week, and I'm super excited to talk to these individuals, see what they're up to and what they're about, as well as figure out what makes them tick, what's their story. I absolutely love stories, and I didn't realize this because I was too busy watching stories, watching movies, and movies are essentially stories played out in such a fashion that you escape your reality and you live in that reality for an hour and a half to 3 hours, depending on who's shooting the movie. Talking about movies, I've also taken up acting, and it's really funny because about 2 years ago, I signed up for Kevin Spacey's acting class on masterclass.com. And some of the lessons I watched on there, and it was really amazing what it teaches you and what Kevin Spacey teaches you. He is just an amazing actor. There are some other acting classes as well by, I believe, Samuel L. Jackson and others on masterclass.com. And having access to masterclass.com, you have unlimited access to every masterclass ever produced and future ones as well. So I'm super excited to learn more things as I go through life. One of my favorite classes on masterclass.com is Steve Martin teaching comedy, and another great one was Malcolm Gladwell teaching writing. Now, Malcolm Gladwell, if you have not read any of his books, he writes The Tipping Point, Outliers. He writes some really, really awesome books. Going through the class, going through listening to him talk about the different stories and the different things he had to do to come up with the material for writing the book is just super awesome. And I went back and listened to Outliers, and it's like, whoa, that's just so real. What's really cool is when you get to see the behind the scenes and then see what actually happened, right? It's just totally mind blowing. Like, oh, these are the different things he was thinking through when he was, writing this paragraph or, stuff like that. So it's really cool. Another class that I'm taking is James Patterson teaches writing, and he has a different way of teaching you. I mean, a lot of it is, what you need to do. And he talks about research being actually both Malcolm Gladwell and James Patterson talk about research. A lot of the research that goes into writing books because you got to know your material, you got to know who your sources are in order to be talking about and writing about what you're writing about. So that one I still need to finish, and I will finish that in coming days. One other masterclass that I took and actually watched through with my wife was Gordon Ramsay teaches cooking. And sure, he's got a little bit of curse words in there, maybe not that many, but it's a totally different side. It's a completely different side of Gordon Ramsay that you wouldn't have expected, especially from all of his shows. Now, Gordon Ramsay's been a chef for over 30 years, and he tells and walks through his story of how he came about becoming a chef and what different things he had to go through to become a chef. And those stories are super inspiring because you're like, wow, if somebody can do that, it's just amazing, right? How you get there. Now, one of the interviews that I did last week, and the individual in this interview also told me his story and how he came about doing what he's doing currently. And I was like, wow, dude, that is so awesome. And I kept asking, what are some of your hobbies? And he's like, these are my three things that I do on a daily basis. I am super focused on these things. And I'm like, how did you get to this point? And he's like, you know what? That is a really good question. And then went into the story of how he got to where he is. So you'll get to listen to that story in the coming weeks. But yeah, these stories are just amazing because it shows you it's almost like a navigation route. Do this, then do this, and do this, and stick to this path. Like GPS navigation, right, is a luxury that we have thanks to the technology and efforts by DARPA years and years ago. We are using GPS on a daily basis on our smartphones. And if you look at the basics of it, it tells you exactly what you need to do to get to your destination. So figure out what your destination is and then plan your route to get to that destination. And if anything changes, anything happens, you either reroute or you go through that hard, treacherous, trafficy pathway, you know, with patience. Because that's all it requires, patience and perseverance, and just keep going the path. And you will eventually land at your destination. And as simple as that sounds, right? It's super simple, and it's true. I mean, when you're in a car, you're focused on one thing and one thing only, to get to your destination. And you're focusing on the road and you're following the road. And you see the signs and you see advertisements like, "Oh, exit here to grab food. Exit here to, fill up your gas. Exit here for a rest stop." So these are all the different exit signs that you see on the road to your destination. And it's true about life as well, right? You either stick to the road and keep going. You look at your gas gauge, like, how much gas do I have? Okay, I've got half a tank. I can keep going for another few hundred miles, and then I need to stop to get gas. So sometimes in life, you're faced with those decisions. You've got to stop and get gas, and it's okay to stop and get gas, but don't forget that you need to get back on the highway to get to your destination. Now, what is your destination, and how are you going to get to your destination? That is a big question. So keep on keeping on. That's one of the things that I learned from all of these stories that I hear from people that I read in the books. Essentially, they're all stories, and as human beings, we love telling stories, we love listening to stories, we absolutely love the drama in the stories. Okay, right? It's really crazy. Recently, I watched this movie, and you're going through the story, and most of the times, you don't know what the end point is going to be, but you're hoping and hoping that the superheroes or the hero or the main protagonist in the movie knows where their destination is. And sometimes you kind of figure out what their destination is. Like sometimes you do because the story gives it away. But other times you have no idea what's going to happen next. And which is okay because you're there. That uncertainty that you have of what's going to happen next in the movie is what keeps you engaged. That's the hook, right? That's the hook. And same thing with the destination in mind. You still have to travel the path, the journey, right? You have to take that journey to get to that destination. Now, that destination may not be the end all be all, but the journey is what you have to take to get to that destination. And when you get to that destination, you might think, okay, maybe I don't want to be here. Then you plot out a different destination and you get back on that journey. But once you've mastered this journey, it becomes autopilot. Oh my God, right? It becomes autopilot. You know where you need to go. You get in the car, you start driving, and you don't even think about driving. I look at brand new drivers, right? They have to think about, okay, where's my pedal? Where's the brake? The steering wheel? Is my mirrors set up correctly? Can I see behind me? Where's my indicator button? Do I have the lights on? Do I have, they've got to figure all of those basic things out. But as a driver for over so many years, you don't even think about those things. You just get in the car, start your engine, look around if you need to back up and start driving. It's comes so natural. It comes so second nature to you because you've done it before, because you've done it thousands of times, a million times before. So that's what taking the journey teaches you. Taking the journey embeds in you, okay, this is the path to get there, right? This is how you get there. When they say once you've learned how to ride a bike, you know how to ride a bike, because the first time you're learning to ride a bike, you have to figure out your pedals. You got to figure out the brakes, the handlebar, the seat adjustment. You got to figure out balancing. You got to figure out how fast you're pedaling and how fast you're going to go. You got to figure all of these things out. This is the first time issues for everything. No matter what you learn, you've got to go through those basic motions. But once you're on the journey, now it's all about creating, it's all about persisting, it's all about getting a move on. And it reminds me so many things about this, right? So the 30 days challenge journey has taught me this. I know that I need to produce content. I know I need to create content for 30 days. Is it 30 days straight? Is it 30 days broken up? Is it 30 videos in 45 days? I don't know, right? I didn't figure that out in the beginning. But as I'm creating content, as I'm creating and publishing these videos, I'm finding my limitations. I'm finding what I'm not doing right. And I'm solving those problems for myself. Like, for example, I've done 11 videos so far, and it's been over 24 days. I've done only 11 videos. I should have been done with 24 videos, but life happens. So what did I learn? Well, these 11 videos is all I can go with the type of content that I was producing. And I started thinking, like, okay, how many tips and tricks do I have just for taking video from your smartphone? So 11 videos covers the basics, everything that you need to know to create perfect video. Now the next third, I'm going to talk about the different applications that I'm using. All the different applications that you use to record video, all the applications you need to use to edit video, all the applications you need to do to create graphics and stuff like that for your video. So all of that, right? So those things I can talk about in the next 10 videos or 9 videos, and then 10 more videos I have to do to make it all 30. And I was like, well, if I'm going this route, so first 10 videos talk about the tips and tricks of how to use a camera. Next 10 videos talk about the different apps that I'm using, the different apps that are available out there, and how to actually use those settings that we talked about in the first 10 videos. And then the last 10 videos, I can talk about all of the different tools that I use. It could have the different microphones I've used, what settings I have set up, any tripods, any gimbals, any of those additional things, what kind of lightings am I using, right? So all of the hardware that brings the whole series together. So I would not have known that if I hadn't even started this thing. But now that I did and gone through the process, I know what I need to do next. So just like that, you got to know your destination. You got to pick your route. And as you're going in this route, as you're going and taking this journey, you figure out the different things you need on your way there. Now, a lot of people have done this journey before, right? And no matter what journey you pick, people have done this before. There's guidelines available all over the place. There's guidelines on what you need to have for a emergency preparation kit, right? What do all I need in my backpack if there's an emergency and I need to go back, right? So there's documentation, there's people done research, and people's done all of this stuff already for you. So there's a ton of research available that you can pick up. You can do your own research, and that is how you're doing your own research, by looking at other people's research. Like, okay, I like this part, this part, this part. I'm going to put it all together. This is my tech bag. This is my go bag with tech accessories and ability to be able to connect it to the internet and all that. So there's information available everywhere. So all you gotta do is take that first step to get out there and make your mark on the world. Because that's what we're doing every day when we speak out loud. We're making our mark on the world. Whew, wow, that got really good. I mean, the more I talk, the more it opens up my mind, and hopefully it is helping you as well. So feel free to reach out and ask any questions you might have. You can use the Anchor app to send messages. You can use the Spreaker app to send messages. You can reach us out on the Facebook, on Twitter or Instagram. I'll be posting a lot of material on Instagram. I'm just putting all those things together, individually marketing each of the episodes, individually bringing in people to listen to the cool stuff that I'm learning and that you're learning. So yeah, reach out whenever you have any questions, and thank you so much for listening.